Hello, everybody. It is that time of the month again. It is time for the top 10 matches of March. And we had a lot of great shows in March. We had AEW Revolution. We had a great Eve show that showed us some of the great women's wrestling in England, in the UK. And then your normal Dynamite, Raw, SmackDown, NXT shows. And we also had the New Japan Cup as well. Can't forget about that. So let's quickly jump into the top 10 matches of March 2026. I almost forgot what month that we were talking about, even though I already mentioned it. All right, so first up at number 10 from AEW Revolution, and I will preface, there will be a lot of AEW Revolution on this list. It was a fantastic show. I was so happy with it from top to bottom. It was just a blast. So, from AEW Revolution, Swerve Strickland versus Brody King. A match to see who's the baddest in AEW, and Swerve walks away with the dub. It was a great match. I like I said, I loved everything about it. It was intense. It was hard hitting. Probably not as intense as you would expect from a who's the baddest, but you already know putting these two talents in the ring together is already going to make for a banger match. And so I putting it on a big stage like Revolution, it only raises the stakes. It raises the aura from the match. And so I think this came out fantastic, but because it didn't feel like a who's baddest match at the end of the day. That's why it's at number 10 and not higher. So next up, number 9 from AEW Dynamite, March 25th, we have Kenny Omega versus Swerve Strickland in a number 1 contendership versus Kenny Omega's EVP position match. That now led to Kenny facing MJF at Dynasty, and Kenny and Swerve in a match together is automatically going to make... It's one of those matchups that at the end of the day is going to be a banger, no matter what. It doesn't matter, what the circumstances are. You already know it's going to be a banger, and this match did not disappoint whatsoever. And the fact that it's just at number 9 already shows how stacked of a month it was. Next up, at number 8 from WWE SmackDown, and I will say this is the only WWE match on this list. March 20th, for the United States Championship, we have Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. The whole United States Open Challenge has been fantastic ever since it was brought back. I think Sammy brought it back because of Cena. But yeah, Melo has been picking it up so well, and Ilya too. It's just been this super fun thing to tune into SmackDown for. And Melo, Ilya, I think Shinsuke also being a part of it. Tama Tonga, you've got The Miz also involved. And now Trick Williams is kind of involved with it too, to a certain extent. I think overall it's just been such a fantastic sign of life for SmackDown, kind of the only sign of life in my opinion, although the heel Randy stuff has been pretty interesting, but for the most part the United States Open Challenges have been the highlight of the shows, and this was probably the best one so far, the best match in that series. Next up, from Eve's Wrestle Queendom, for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, we have Sherry versus Alex Windsor, and this was Alex Windsor winning that championship off of Sherry. This whole event was my first foray into Eve, especially knowing that Charlie, aka Dakota Kai, would be making her wrestling return. And some of these names that I was seeing on the card, Shuri, Alex Windsor, Jamie Hayter was also on the card, I believe, in a battle royal maybe. But this match was just a clinic. It was a clinic of a match. I love Shuri and I love Alex Windsor. Both of them together are going to make something that is very representative of New Japan, and it was a great entry into this whole card at Wrestle Queendom. So absolutely check out this match. Check out the whole pay-per-view. But that's not even going to be the last one that I mentioned from that card. So next up, from AEW Dynamite on March 11th for the TNT Championship, we have Kyle Fletcher versus Mike Bailey. So I think Kyle Fletcher is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world right now. Kyle Fletcher is, obviously a world champion contender, but the fact that he is kind of holding down the mid card at the TNT Championship kind of it really elevates that whole division, and Mike Bailey kind of switching between main event, tag, trios, and TNT. It's a very fluid division system that AEW has, and I think it works out really well. And this match was just like a beautiful combination of styles. And I mean, Mike Bailey has always been like one of my favorites. Ever since he was in TNA or Impact when he was in it, I've loved watching him. I think I've watched him live at some Impact shows, and he's just so incredible in the ring. I put him like maybe top 10 modern wrestlers, I'd say. Actually, I might be able to pull that up. Where is Mike Bailey in this list that I keep? Oh man, he's actually pretty far down. 35. Okay, not as high as I would have thought. But comparing all the names above him, it makes sense. But yeah, top 50 in the modern age, top 40 modern age for Mike Bailey. And Kyle Fletcher is, Kyle Fletcher's top 10. I have him at number 6 of modern times. So, yeah, of course they're going to put on a banger of a match. All right, at number 5, at AEW Revolution for the AEW Tag Team Championships, we have FTR versus the Young Bucks. This was a lot of people's match of the night, and I mean, FTR and Young Bucks, every time they run a match or they have a match scheduled, I'm like, why are we doing this again? I feel like we always run back this feud, we always run back these matchups, but then the match actually happens. And it blows you away. They somehow get it unique every single time. They pull new stuff out from the cracks every single time, and this was no exception. In fact, this might have been like the highlight, like the best one between the four of them that I've seen. I am genuinely so blown away every time that they wrestle. It wasn't my personal match of the night. However, I could very much understand why people put it so high up, why they had it as their match of the night. So number 4, and there's going to be a little hot take for everyone, a little hot pick, but number 4 from AEW Revolution, Andrade El Idolo versus Bandito. I thought this match was incredible. I've heard some takes that it was slow-paced, that it was not as great as expected, but I don't know, I loved it so much, and I thought, when Bandito was messing up his pants, I thought that was intended. I thought it was, it helped put over Andrade's kind of slickness, his charisma, and, also him taking advantage of Bandito's pants not coming off, but, I don't know. I thought this match was outstanding. It was a beautiful, slower paced lucha match that I think was more in Andrade's wheelhouse than Bandito's. And it being slower paced just kind of shows Andrade's dominance in the match. I don't know. I'd love to hear some of your takes about this match in the comments. Please tell me your feelings about Andrade versus Bandito, and all these matches too. But next up, number 3, AEW Revolution for the Continental Championship in a no time limit match. We have Jon Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita. This was on par with their I forget which pay-per-view it was, but their Continental Classic match in the semifinals. I think it was semifinals or the finals. It's a banger. I mean, Moxley is so kind of like back and forth on whether he's gonna bring out like banger Mox or he's gonna kind of take it easy, and you can kind of tell which era he's in. I think right now he's in his banger area, especially now that he is the Continental Champion, and he's going to be facing Will Ospreay at Dynasty. He is very much in a let's pull out all the stops right now. I mean, this is a similar Moxley to when he was carrying AEW around like the CM Punk era of AEW, when he was Mr. Reliable. And Takeshita, I think he's the best wrestler in the world right now, period. Like, no cap. Like, Takeshita is the best in the world right now. I had him as the number 1 of 2025, and he will probably be top 10 in 2026, but we'll see about that. Mox is absolutely probably one of the best of the modern day because of how reliable he is, how great of a storyteller he is, and how he can just come alive in a match, really just mix styles, have his like brawler style fuse with any other wrestler. And even though like the Death Rider story has kind of soured a lot of people on Moxley, I think it's gotten to a point where it really works. And I don't know if it's just the people that the Death Riders are up against right now being, or in Revolution's case being the Don Callis family, or if it's just a change in the Death Riders that has made them more compelling, more fun to watch. But this match was kind of like the pinnacle, I feel like, of that whole story. Next up, number 2 from Eve Wrestle Queendom for the Eve Championship, Rio versus Session Moth Martina. Now, I think this match rivals the Roman Cody WrestleMania match, where Cody won the championship. This match was that. Maybe even turned up a little bit. It had like insane overbooking, but not too much. Like, it felt just enough to where it felt like a regime change. It felt like a changing of the guard. It felt like a true crowning of a championship. And I also went into this with like no context, and the video package leading up to this gave me everything I needed. It was so perfectly placed, so perfectly put together, and then the match itself was filled with so much emotion. Like, Rio was dominating so much of it, and Moth Martina's like her comeback felt so realistic and so believable. And it was filled with so much heart. Oh my god, so much heart. I loved everything about this match. I literally walked away like smiling after the show ended, and you ended on Session Moth Martina's music, which I've been trying to find the name of. I know that song, but I can't remember the name of it. If anybody knows the name of that song, please let me know in the comments. I tried Googling it and nothing comes up. It's like her old song is all that comes up, but not her new one. I forget it, so please somebody let me know in the comments. And yeah, I highly suggest people watch Wrestle Queendom and watch this match, please, because it was excellent. Excellent. All right, finally, number 1 from AEW Revolution for the AEW World Championship in a Texas Death Match. That is MJF versus Adam Page. I think this is an incredible Texas Death Match. One of my favorites. I think they were able to level up the brutality and have like, because I think they mentioned this was MJF's first death match, and that being part of the story made this like even more, like, it added an extra dimension to it. And I don't know, it wasn't too brutal. It was brutal enough, and honestly, that's when it's brutal for the sake of brutal. I'm not so much of a fan, but if it's done for the purpose of the story, for example, the syringe coming out of the cheek, that being a callback to his match with Swerve, and then what was it? Adam Page pulling out the dog collar, being a callback to CM Punk. Everyone was kind of like pulling out their past nightmares. You know, it was filled with callbacks that worked tremendously. They were just so it was an incredibly such an incredible told story, a well told story, and was a believable finish for MJF, which I think is the most important thing for a finish to be believable, and for the story to actually have a beginning, middle, end within the match, especially for a match as long as this. This was a long match. I think this was one of the best death matches, and was a perfect main event for Revolution. I gave it perfect 10 out of 10. No notes. I loved everything about it, and it helped make March a fantastic month for pro wrestling. And I already know April is gonna be just as big, if not bigger. We've got WrestleMania, we've got Dynasty coming up. What other shows do we have? I think there's New Japan. Is Sakura Genesis coming up in April? I think so. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know some of your favorite matches in March. What matches are you looking forward to in April? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.